So as I was mentioning before, there's this idea that's pretty prevalent, not only in Panama, but in around the world. But thinking about Panama specifically, this idea of an athletic gene that Black people supposedly possess, that inherently possess, that it is something that is natural of who we are in our bodies. That's largely tied to all of the historic exploitation and exploitation of the Black body. And, you know, we see these stereotypes or this language being used every day around the world, but in Panama, we use it all the time, you know, and ideas like los mejores futbolistas salen en los barrios populares, o la raza negra tiene más fibras en su músculo, que hay muchas cosas que la gente sigue diciendo que los negros, Panamá es una crisol de las fibras donde se mezcla la raza diferente, pero lo que se lleva en contexto a la fuerza física es la sangre negra. Y más, no solo la sangre negra, pero la sangre negra caribeña, que tiene que ver con Jamaica, Barbados, porque es una idea que mucha gente lleva que there's only Blackness come from these places in Panama. And, you know, those things that we repeat on an everyday basis, you know, many Black people, we self-stereotype and we internalize those ideas because it's one of the few avenues where Blackness is seen in a positive light. You know, so it influences us sometimes to subscribe to those stereotypes, but also we have to look at the opposite end. What does it mean to be physically superior in relation to somebody who says that's fine, but Black people are physically superior, but white people are intellectually superior, right? So there's a lot of negative things going on. And at the core, the problem with these things are, with these stereotypes, it masks the real life social issues that are based in race and racism that impact the lives of many Black people, that push these people into thinking about their bodies in a solar way as one of the few ways of obtaining upward social mobility, or what I like to call a dignified life or a dignified chance at life. It's not that we are physically superior than others that allows us to have success in sport. It's more so the state has only allowed certain bodies, particularly Black bodies, to occupy certain spaces. The state needs this, benefits from this idea of Black athletic superiority, benefits from Black kids having very low outcomes as far as education is concerned. It benefits from Black kids living in abject poverty, because once you only open a certain sector for them to be in through the use of their bodies, then you see a huge influx of these kids trying to try their luck, really, at being better athletes, because it's one of the few opportunities or the few avenues that they have. So it's not an athletic gene. It is the absolute disregard the state has for Black people, where the Black body is the only thing that they can see in many of us, and it's used to them, to the state, to dejar el nombre de Panamá en alto, to win in el Mundial, to win Olympic medals, to win in regional games. So Panama has an increased profile around the world, and it's not necessarily an investment in who we are as people. It's more of an investment of what our bodies can do for you today. And it historically has been like that, again, through the transatlantic slave trade and constructing the country, again, to the voluntary migration of hundreds of thousands of people, particularly Black people from the British and Francophone West Indies, to the country to build the Ferrocarril, to build the Panama Canal, to build the banana plantation, to give all of this modernity, wealth to Panama, and what their bodies would do with little regard for who they are as people. And I think again, that is something that the state has to reconcile, that the state has yet to reconcile, is who do they believe Black people to be? Bodies or people? And it's not an athletic gene, but I think it's important for us to talk about the body, because the body is what we embody, it's what we live in, it's what the world sees. And it says so much about who we are, because our racialization lives on the body. It lives on us. And when you see me, you see something about me. And that says so many things. But I think it's important when we talk about the body and we talk about sports, is not to limit the conversation to only the way Black bodies have been exploited in the athletic system, particularly using the idea of plantation slavery that happened throughout the Americas based on race. I think it's definitely comparable in many ways when thinking about who's making the money versus who's doing the labor and what that looks like in a historical sense. But I also think it's very important to give Black people the opportunity to think about their bodies in diverse ways. Because it's not too often that we tell white people that they can't think of their bodies in all of its capabilities, even though they might not want to think about it as such. But only when we talk about the Black body, there's a large group of beliefs that say the Black body is only good for this and for that. It's highly sexualized, it's highly policed. And I think we have to break that down to allow us the same freedom and opportunity to think about our bodies in multiple ways, because some of us might just be good athletes. And that's okay. And we should be able to use our bodies the way that we want to. And that doesn't mean that we're any less people, any less human, because we inhabit this body. Everything is inside of this body. But see, the states don't see what's inside. They see only what this body can do. And I think the important thing for us now is to allow us to be who we are when thinking about the body, but also moving in a direction where we can really highlight the exploitation that has happened with the body.
Oh.